bring the meeting to order here, 5:30. We'll wait just a sec. Bridget's out grabbing some paperwork. Call the meeting at 5:30. All right, Article 2, Planning Board, Dave Hall. Is Dave here?
I am here.
There we go.
Yes, we have a returning volunteer for the planning board, Kevin Chapman. We'd like to have him appointed. And I also would like to mention that we have an opening for at least 2 alternates. It would be very nice to get a couple of women that want to spend a year or 2 learning how the planning board works. There's some classes that are offered by the state that they can take, and we can continue on.
Okay. So do we make the appointments or? I'll make a motion to have Kevin Chapman appointed to the planning board.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor? Welcome Kevin to the planning board.
Thank you.
Article 3, comprehensive board. That's Dave Hall again.
The committee wants me to say a few words here to kind of get some thoughts going on the thing. So I'm going to start off by reading a couple of things from page 223 of the 1997 comprehensive plan. The first 193 pages were all just the statistics, how many crooked roads we had, how many trees, etc., stuff like that. And the last 30 pages are the part that are kind of interesting. That's what we should do, or what the comprehensive plan people said we should do. A lot of them are still appropriate. And most all of these have not been done at all yet. Like one thing was trail district overlay, so that the Aroostook Valley Railroad and the Bangor and Aroostook Railroad recreational trails, they wanted to put through some zoning on that so we controlled development close to the trail. Also recommended that we draft a townwide zoning ordinance, which we tried to kind of do about 6 years ago, I think. We managed to put enough in for somebody to hate all of it, or part of it. It passed, not at all, just a big bomb. And on the next page, there's a couple of things that I've been pushing. Well, one thing I've been pushing for, and this is from 1997. And it said they wanted to create a packet for people who wanted to build in town to make it easy to build, instead of coming in and saying, you know, what do I do, what do I need, to just assemble something where you can give one sheet that says what you need, what permits you need, who you should contact. It also said that the planning board was supposed to review and update the comprehensive plan every 5 years. Well, we're busy at this and it's 30 years later. On page 225, the 6th item here is establish a recreation planning committee, develop long-range recreation plans to provide opportunities for people of all ages within the community. Surprisingly, that's the same thing that we came up with. Those of you that read the survey will notice that was on there. That's just some information I took out of the old plan, which the survey then was mailed out in 1994, mailed out 435. This year, we mailed out 500. We got basically the same return on it. And at the next meeting next month, we're going to cover the results from that survey. In July, I would have been here 25 years. I moved here from Dallas. It was a very nice culture shock. Took me about 3 minutes to get used to the traffic. Grew up in New Hampshire, so I was familiar with what the New England weather was. But I moved up here, we found a nice old farm on a paved road. And now we're living in dust and dirt. You can't buy a beer or a gas in town. We're not moving ahead. We're kind of going backwards. If you come in from Caribou on Woodland Center Road, there's 5 or 6 houses that have disappeared and been knocked down. One new one's been built. Now, most people have heard that the comprehensive plan is what you need to get grants. And that's pretty much true if you're getting a grant from the state. And there's other places in the world that can get grants. That's one of the things a recreation committee does, is it looks for money for the town for other stuff. The other important function is to provide some guidance for the future, where you're going. And that's the part we've kind of fallen asleep on. We haven't, basically had no plan. Everybody's got different opinions of what they don't want. Very few people have an opinion for what they do want. And everybody's universal complaint seems to be taxes, which are high and getting higher. But we have to come up with something for the future. And the one place that we can have a bit of an effect is in the recreational industry. We can't make any more farmland. The logging industry is still going. And both farming and logging are one reason we have a problem with our roads. The trucks are getting bigger and the roads weren't built to handle the bigger stuff. The second Wednesday of the month, except for next month, is the Comprehensive Plan Committee meeting at 6 o'clock. If anybody has any thoughts or comments, we'd love to have them stop in. The third Wednesday of the month is the Planning Board. And that's when we would, if anybody's interested in becoming an alternate, we could stop in and see what it's like. It's usually fairly enjoyable. That's pretty much what I've got to say tonight. We'll have more talks about different stuff in the future. Like I said, Lorraine's planning on doing the summary of the survey next meeting at the town meeting when we have a big crowd. Yeah. That'll be interesting. Thank you.
Good work. Thanks, Dave. Article 4, Steering Committee. All right.
Thank you, Chair. So the steering committee, which all of you voted members into, has been meeting since February 8th. Initially, we started meeting every other week, but since April, we've been meeting every week. So we have had a total of 18 hours of meeting thus far. During that time, we've worked pretty hard on collecting information about other communities' bylaws that are very similar to Woodland, so that we can compare and take the best of what we think would benefit our town, taking into consideration the MMA's guidelines and state statutes that are required for bylaws. So we're following those to the T, so to speak, to make sure that we have a good product. Our committee is in the process of also completing a binder. People are wondering about that. We would like to make sure that that's available at the town office. What will be in it are the work that we've done so far, which will include our mission statement, approved minutes, and any other work that we've been doing as part of the steering committee. So I would like permission from the board to work with Bridget about making sure that that's available and readily for anybody who is asking any questions to be able to see it in concept or anything like that, if that's okay. Rose Monahan is our recorder, and she will keep that manual updated, and if there's any needs for additional changes, she can be contacted to have that replaced if needed. As we've been working on the bylaws and following the MMA guidelines and state statutes, one of the things that we talked with you as a board was about the open position for the tax collector and treasurer, and offered a draft job description that I think all of you have gotten, I think, twice now. And so we are looking, and I think the board made reference that they would be supportive of the committee offering support to the board around the recruitment process, because it's a difficult process to recruit. So what we are looking for is a little bit more detail from the board about how you can participate in helping you recruit for that position. So that's the kind of thing that we really would like to get feedback from, one, about the job description and the interview questions, but also morally about, how we can be helping you in that process with that recruitment. So any feedback that you can give us would be helpful. If you can provide that tonight, that would be great. If not, we look forward to hearing from you as soon as possible.
Yeah, we should come to one of your meetings. When's your next meeting?
Our next meeting is next Tuesday at 6 p.m. And we are meeting at the Northern Maine Development in Caribou. And the reason that we're meeting there is because they have allowed us to use their conference room that has this lovely screen that we can all see everything at the same time.
Yes.
We would love to have something like that at our town office for our meeting, because that allows the committee to actually see the same paperwork at the same time. But that wasn't available here at the town office, so Northern Maine Development has allowed us to meet in our Caribou. So I can send you all an invite for that, for our next meeting, so that we can have a further discussion about that.
Sure.
Great. Are there any questions that the board has for the committee?
I would just be concerned that if you invite us all to attend, that would be considered a meeting if we were all there. That would also have to be open to the public.
Okay. I don't have a concern about that. I don't think the committee would have a concern about that. No?
About the meeting being open to the public?
Yeah. At least that portion of it, certainly, if they wanted to stay for more, they can look at it. Well, again, what we're following is an outline of the MMA's guidelines for the bylaws. That's well established and quite visible for the whole community to see. There's nothing private about that.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Next one, Article number 5. Road Commissioner's report. Our road commissioner is currently out on medical leave, but I wanted to mention Gary Willett has turned his resignation in, and he's taken another job. And I spoke with him a couple of times. His last day is this coming Friday. And Paul Coy, he's our new hire. Excellent guy. He lives in Marjorie Dahlgren's old house over on the Tangle Ridge Road, or on the same lot. So if you see him out and about, he's going to be alone here for a little bit until Paul gets back. So on some of the updates, I think they're just about finished patching. I think they got just a little bit more. They were out today on the end of the Everett Road. I think they got the Tabor Road, Tabor Hill to do. And they get to go back over some areas where they put cold patch in, is what they said. Then we're going to get into some of the ditching, some of the shoulder works next up for their workload. So the next item here is patching. Like I said, the patching's just about done. And they've actually made it around all the roads this year. And lastly, drag box. So I'll let you talk about the drag box here.
At the end of the last selectmen's meeting, Mr. Drew tasked the rest of the select board to find the town's drag box. So I started looking around to see what's going on with the town's drag box. The town has never owned a drag box. The town owns a paver, which was purchased in 2020. They do similar things, but they're not the same piece of equipment. The drag box in which the town had used was borrowed from the former road commissioner. It was gifted to him by Joyce Noble. And he let us use it for free. According to him, they brought it in, pounded some dents out of it, and put it to work, and we used it to lay about 600 ton of hot top. And after that, he took it home. And lo and behold, that Friday on May 3rd, it's reported there's drones flying around my home flying around my shop, and we spoke to the person flying the drone, and he explained why he was there, who asked him to be there, and I do not have possession of the drag box. I did have possession. My husband borrowed, before Mike died, he borrowed it a couple years ago from this guy to do some paving up at the lake. This drag box never belonged to the town of Woodland. And actually it belonged to Mr. Fournier, and he since has come and got his drag box, and I think we need to, actually, I have footage if anybody wants to see it. I was offended that they felt it necessary to fly drones around my property looking for an item that was never stolen by any member of my family. It sat right out by the road. You could see it when you drove by. So I just wanted to make it perfectly clear, this town has a paver sitting on the north end of the parking lot. You can all go out. Town purchased it, and it's rightfully theirs. I have never used the town's paver, but my husband did borrow Chris Fournier's drag box. We did have possession of it, and that's the end of it. Thank you.
Okay.
I would dispute that only on the basis that there are minutes in the archives from this town.
There are no minutes.
Oh, there are, I have them. That we were the ones that possessed that drag box, the town of Woodland. We were made to believe it was ours. The select board was evidently lied to because the town's people put a lot of money in that drag box. We replaced the burners, we bought the paint, we paid the crew, and then all of a sudden the drag box vanished. The question was where it was, and wouldn't you be concerned if the town owned the drag box and we can't find it? And I believe on tape Matt Cole said that would be a concern. And there was two people in the room when I asked the question, the alleged owner and a board member, and no one answered the question. And I find that very suspicious. So I'll make the copies of the minutes available to the town, and we'll decide who's lying and who's telling the truth. It's that simple.
Yes.
Is there a bill of sale written on this drag box?
Yes, there is. It's
Does the
been
town
published.
possess that currently?
Pardon me?
Does the town possess a copy of that?
No, it does.
The owner
doesn't. The town does not possess it. The owner possesses it. There's no alleged owner. There's an owner to the drag box.
So the town, if the town doesn't have a bill of sale, the town is not the owner, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Yes.
If the drag box was thought to be stolen, instead of sending Josh Ryan with a drone over a property, why wouldn't the law enforcement notify? That's my concern. If that's the case, why wasn't law enforcement notified?
Maybe they still can be.
I would have notified them. Thank you.
Any more on the drag
Happy
box?
one.
I'm not talking to you.
Well, you were looking at it.
No, that was somebody briefly.
Oh, okay. But I do have a question. Like, I get that a drone was flying over your house. It's Woodland. There's drones flying all over our houses. There's no law that says they can't.
There's no law that says they can't.
And I get that you felt
If you
violated.
get that I feel violated, then
Yep.
why are you asking this question?
Because there's lots of things that I don't like in life, but they happen, and you can't do anything because it's legal. Like, there's, like, I get.
Maybe
where-
I'll tell you what, maybe you need to view the tape,
Yeah,
the footage.
yes.
Yes, if you view the footage, you'll have
I'd
a
like
little
everybody in
different
here to see it and see what's said and see who ordered the drone to go there and fly over your property.
Correct.
I seen it.
But nobody ordered it?
Yes.
Yes.
Happened to be there.
Somebody ordered it.
Somebody ordered it.
Oh. Anybody want to say who did? Apparently not.
Any more questions on the drag box? All right. Article 6, Town Office Report. So, yeah, the Tuesday night hours, they've been doing that for 7 months. And on Tuesday nights, they've been staying an hour late. And I think, how many people would it come in the 7 months? It's only been a couple of people.
It's only a handful.
Yeah.
I think it was 3.
So what I'm understanding is you want to take the hours back to close the town office at 4.
I think we should. There's no sense running electricity, paying overtime, individuals to
So that-
stay.
It's not beneficial enough for the town to have that extra. If somebody needed to come in the town office and they're running late, and they call and say, hey, Bridget, can you stay till 20 of 4 or 20 of 5? I want to register something, I'm sure she would on any night. So,
Yeah, because it's based on like when your stuff is due.
yes.
I
Yeah.
haven't utilized it because my stuff's due in June,
Yeah.
and so.
Usually,
I would-
you come once a year on
Right,
those
that's what I'm saying.
Tuesday nights that would be
So I
late.
just call
Yeah.
and say, you're coming from
Yeah.
here.
Then she'd have stuff booted up too for you
Right.
as well. Knowing
As
that
long
you're
as that's
coming.
an option.
Yeah. That's okay option, huh?
It's fine as long as it works out for
Yeah.
what we're doing
Okay.
every day.
So do we need a motion to take the hours and cut it back to 4 o'clock? Or what do you think, Tom?
Hey, you guys do what you want, so go up for it, you know?
Okay, I'll make a motion to close the office at 4 o'clock on Tuesdays.
Okay. I second that motion. Any discussion?
Oh, not here.
Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. Rapid renewal.
Did everybody get a Harris local government form? Okay. We got a letter we requested from Harris local government, who is TRIO, the charges to establish rapid renewal. And we talked about it last time, but there's been a lot of discussion, I guess, on social media. And there is a fee of $1,487.50 to establish rapid renewal. And that's just to establish it. That's not discounting the fees that we're going to lose by excising vehicles through this process. Now, every year it's not going to be this much. After that, it's going to cost us, recurring is going to cost us $247.50 plus whatever revenue we'll lose for excise. So I just wanted to bring that to attention because there's been some discussion that other towns aren't paying this, and well, TRIO, I'll make this available. Anybody would like to see it?
May I make a comment?
Sure.
Why would we want to lose the revenues for that, with a few instances, number one? Number two, why would we want to spend $1,000 to get involved in something with a very small percentage of the
Well,
community?
there are some people that are looking at the convenience end of this. I think it's more convenient, but we're scrounging up, trying to scrounge up every dime we can to try to get a truck and get our roads paved, and we just thought that this was probably one of the necessary items we could have held off for a while.
Any questions on that? Yes.
Maybe to help resolve that question, obviously with the next meeting being the annual meeting, maybe it could be something that the people could put a vote in on. Maybe it could be something that the people could put a vote in on and allow majority to, make a vote on it to try to determine whether or not it's worthwhile. As far as the convenience factor, obviously it's easier for some to do it online versus actually come to the town office. Maybe it should be left to be a choice of the people, rather than just
Yeah.
make a general call over the funds, I guess.
Can you add that to the town report? Okay. All right, we'll do that. Oh, go ahead.
What's the total excise tax collected per year?
Oh, we don't have that one, see? I don't have that form, I don't think. Revenue summary, motor vehicles. 218. I can give you a guesstimate on it, about 218,000.
And
Go ahead,
if we were to
Kevin.
switch, what would the estimate be of what we would lose?
I'm gonna give you a guesstimate, probably $6 a registration.
We would lose the excise tax?
No, you lose $6, you lose the $6 fee. They'll send us in the excise, they send us our excise, it's the fee, the $6 per person, per
That was
registration.
my-
or whatever.
Yeah.
But don't she still have to do the paperwork after when it comes back to the town?
Yes.
There's still quite a bit of work to do, and we just were kind of holding off until we got all the slots filled. And
Any other questions? Okay. Article 7, abatement, M. Levesque. So what I'm reading here is, they got a real estate value of $360.75.
well, that was the assessed value of real estate, and there wasn't any.
There's no buildings or anything, it's like what she stated here.
So that needed to be taken over.
Okay.
And Brandon's looked at this and he said, for us
Okay.
to,
So it says we're gonna take $192 off?
we need to do 245,
Okay.
which will leave the taxes at 168.30.
I don't have a problem, do you?
I don't know.
What do you think, Paul?
I'm gonna abstain.
Okay.
Okay, I'll make a motion to amend the taxes of Miranda Levesque, to abate the taxes of Miranda Levesque. And,
Going to clean it up, okay? All seconds that motion, any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? All abstained? All right. Budget.
The budget.
So we've had, 3 or 4 budget workshops here. We've gone through the budgets in the past 3 or 4 years, last year specifically, and then put together a budget for this year. And we're going to run down through that real quick. Did you guys get a copy of that? Okay. So we'll start right at the top. On general government, the advertisement stayed the same at 700. Computer softwares dropped from 12,000 to 9,000. Dues and subscriptions has gone down from 4,000 to 1,500. Legal accounting has gone up from 10,000 to 20,000. Miscellaneous expense went down $200 to $300. Office supplies went from 3,500 down to 1,500. Postage went down to $1,200. Printing and copier, it's gone from 1,900 down to 500. Salaries, contractual services stayed the same at 100,000. Telephone internet went up $300 to 3,300. Travel and training has gone up from 2,400 to 3,500. Down to general assistance, that stayed the same at $1,000. Down in elected appointed officials, the assessing services went up $400 to 5,400. Election workers, ballot clerks, that line item went up to 2,100. The selectmen's stipend stayed the same. We're going to roll down to animal control, down to the animal control salary. That that's gone up to $1,500. The travel has stayed the same at $100. Plumbing permit fees down in the code enforcer stayed the same at $15. The build permit fees are the same at $2,000. His salary has gone up a couple $100 to $5,200. Dropping down to municipal building, property insurance stayed the same at $15,000. The electric actually went down a couple hundred to $5,200. The heating oil has dropped down to $13,000. And the repairs and maintenance dropped $5,000 down to $20,000. Down on public works, the hot top loan, that stayed the same at $90,000. That's our loan payment. Our gas has dropped down to $3,000 from $4,500. The diesel's dropped $10,000 down to $30,000. Equipment repairs stayed the same at $150. Medicare, Social Security went up $100 to $12,800. Miscellaneous expenses dropped down to $300 from $750. Road maintenance stayed the same at $200,000. The salaries stayed the same at $173,000. And the salt sand stayed the same at $80,000. Tools and supplies stayed the same at $3,500. If you flip the page over, your insurance retirement line item, Medicare and Social Security went from $21,000 down to $9,000. The health insurance went from $68,400 to $80,000. Retirement went from $1,000 down to $500. Unemployment dropped to $500. Workers' comp stayed the same at $7,500. Rustic Solid Solution, Waste Solutions is the landfill, that stayed the same at $68,000. Caribou Ambulance stayed the same at $152,125. Northern Maine Development Corporation stayed the same at $21,34. The Central Aroostook Humane Society stayed the same at $23,13. And then dropped down to ACAP, that stayed the same at $485. American Red Cross stayed the same, $350. Aroostook Area on Aging stayed the same at $150. Central Aroostook Soil and Water stayed the same at $250. Caribou Emergency Management stayed the same at $200. Healthy Families Aroostook stayed the same at $100. Maine Veteran Cemetery stayed the same at $100. Sister Mary O'Donnell's Shelter, $23.05, that stayed the same. Catholic Charities stayed the same at $100. Woodland Cemetery Association stayed the same at $280. Woodland Historical Society went from $415 up to $1,100. They have some work that they'd like to do on some of the historical buildings. The Woodland Ski Trail stayed the same at $250. We'll drop down to tax discounts and abatements, that's at $20,000. Down on building repair reserve, that stayed the same at $10,000. Office equipment reserve stayed the same at $1,000. Highway equipment reserve stayed the same at $10,000. Assessment revenue stayed the same at $5,000. And the planning board reserve stayed the same at $25,000. The school stayed the same, they held the line, $677,370, that stayed the same. And then the county tax went up a little bit to $111,564.30. So a lot of research went into that, looking back and forth at prior budgets. We met extensively with Paul there, talking about highway and stuff, and this is what we've come up with.
On the line item equity replacement fund, that was a $20,000 commitment. We promised the people we would put $20,000 back into an account. We made an account special.
Where's this on?
You skipped over it, I believe. Equity replacement fund. That is the town of Woodland paying itself back the money for the grader.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember those days?
Yeah, but they never took it out last year at all.
Well, it should
So
have.
we should,
Because of everyone that was here and voted for the purchase, remembers that was exactly what we promised to do. Because we were able to purchase a $178,000 machine without raising the mill rate a dime, and that's because the town possessed its own income. And in order to have that income for future emergencies, we would need to be dedicated in reframing that and putting it back in the account.
yeah.
Otherwise, it would probably be labeled as some form of deception by the public that voted for it. There was 54 people in attendance, and I believe only one voted against the purchase of the grader. So I'm not sure how you plan to handle that, but just because we don't acknowledge it doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Yeah, well, we can,
So when was that grader purchased and how many times has that $20,000 replacement payment been made?
It appears it's only been made once, and it should be made at least 7 or 8 times.
So that's 7 years old, that machine?
Well, no, it isn't, but I'm just saying going forward, we've had it, I believe, 3 years.
So purchased 3 years ago.
I believe I can't remember right off the top of my head, but there should be records in the office to answer that question.
I don't understand why that wasn't taken out last year.
yeah, that should have been taken
I
out,
think it should be
definitely.
put back in the budget.
What's that?
I think it should be put back in
Put
the
back in
budget.
the budget, yeah, yeah.
And if you're
Yeah.
concerned that it didn't get put back in last year with all the calamity that's been going on in this town, then it wouldn't be unheard of to put 40,000 back this year to
Well,
catch
we've
you
got
up.
a lot of things we're working on this year. We can't afford to do that.
We're always gonna have a lot of things that we're working on, and that's the problem. When we don't have any money, you don't have any options.
That's true.
One thing we have been talking about is a truck. We spent, on that line item last year, we spent about $140,000 repairing these trucks. And we've got another one up there now, wants another $25,000 for a leaky head gasket. So I got some information, and what we'd like to see happen is instead of spending $150,000 on truck repairs for what we have for trucks, it might be possible that we can purchase a truck, spend $5,000 a month on a payment on a truck, and I mean, that would come out to less than what we paid in repairs for these 2 trucks. So, and we'd have a brand new truck, all dressed up. So it's just something that we've been talking about, we're toying with right now, so.
We need a truck. We've got, everything we have is 20-something years old. And that '09 red one sitting out here with a blown head gasket, wanting $25,000 to start the repair. We did the motor job on the little single axle, that was $40,000, and then another $8,000, another $6,000 on top of that. So we've got almost 60 grand in just repairs on that little truck. And that's an '04 or something, that's 20-something years old.
I believe 5 or 6 years ago, the town purchased a payloader, a pickup, a plow, and a trailer, all about the same time. And then the request was made to purchase the truck at that time, which I did not feel comfortable going any further with the town's purse until we made arrangements and made some progress in paying off some debt. So the arrangement at that time was to put a little bit of money in that red truck, which was done, in the hopes that we would get one more year out of it. And we've got 6. It is time for a new truck, but in order to trust the process, we've got to be held accountable. So before we buy a truck, we really should make sure we maintain the payment plan for the grader. That's my opinion, as a taxpayer.
Hey, Tom, I agree with you on that.
If we haven't maintained the grader payment,
The grader's paid off with
You're
our
talking about
money.
the equity,
We took money out of our reserves to pay for the grader, and we have not put that back. We also, I don't believe, have been dedicated in putting money away for the salt shed. Is that in here? Have you added anything to that account?
no.
And what about the reevaluation that will happen again in another 9 or 10 years? Those things are all inevitable. And the reason they become cancer on your budget is because we've made no preparation going forward so we can actually act within the powers that we have. So if we don't learn from the past and we have to starve something out, like a mile of hot top, for example, because we didn't put $10,000 away a year for a reevaluation that's inevitable, then we didn't learn anything. Because we did have some hardship this last time we paid for that reval, and we haven't made any progress towards owning the responsibility of the knowledge that we know we need a new salt shed eventually, and we can't just hang on the hope that we will receive free money to build it.
What I don't like about how the town works, I've lived here for 65 years, and I've lived in that house over the hill for 43 years, and I've paid a lot of taxes. And every year, some of my tax dollars get put in the bank. All these people are putting tax dollars in the bank. When it comes to hard times like this, why can't we use a little bit of that $1 million we got in the bank to do some of this stuff?
Well, I don't believe we have $1 million, but the facts are, how are you going to replace it, and where are you going to be when you really know hard
It's
times?
not going to be used until I'm dead and all these people are dead and gone.
This really isn't about you or me, it's
No,
about the
we're the
future of
ones
this
paying
town
the
and making sure that we don't harness it completely to debt without any solvency of our own.
But we're the ones paying it in.
We've been faced with many emergencies over the last decade and a half, and we've been able to, circle our wagons and hold our own ground because we don't have things that other towns, can't cash for. We don't have the businesses. We don't have the loss of all the things that have happened through the COVID years. So we have a little bit of a benefit, and I don't think that reserve should be a big problem in your mind. It should be a true benefit. Just because your money's sitting in a savings account waiting for the next emergency should make you want to pat yourself on the back a little bit.
The emergency never comes up though.
They come up all the time. We needed a roof, we needed replaced fuel tanks. Fire and ambulance went up $100,000 with a week's notice. Those are all emergencies.
You guys took it out of that account or you want our tax?
Well, no, but I'm saying the option to do things doesn't happen if you don't have the money. Just like the grader was purchased because you put money in a savings account. That's the deal.
My tax dollars should have went to the grader, not the bank. I don't think the town should be in business to put money in the bank. Every other business has a line at the end of the year. As long as that line is met, our taxes go up and our money gets put in a savings account. It's not right. It's not right.
Well, this town has been gifted with many people who have thought frugally, and you're kind of slapping all the old selectmen in the face because it's their conservative that's put us in a position where we can be financially accountable. I don't think that's a problem in today's environment. I really don't, but that's my opinion, just like you have yours.
It wouldn't hurt to take a little of that out though.
We've done that.
And balance this stuff off instead of.
We took $178,000 out and we were committed to put it back. So if you're asking to take some more out before we put back what we have promised, or at least we can't even show a plan that we've kept our word. We need to show that before we can just keep
How much
taking
do we
it out.
have in the bank? That should be public information.
Well, it sure is, all of it's public information. Come to your town office and ask the clerk. She's got access to all
What's
the
the rough
information.
number?
Oh, I don't know. I wouldn't know
900
yet.
grand probably?
I'm too close to the end of my term to make suggestions now.
I can read them what we've got in. Joe, I can read you what we have in the various accounts here. I can find it. deposit accounts, Machias, we have 131,149. Federal savings and loan, 218,201. North State, 7,899. Credit Union, 259,525. Katahdin Trust, 65,278. And Katahdin Trust, $868,008.19. For a total of $1,551,062.07. But some of this is obligated in other areas too.
How many hundreds of thousands of that belongs to the school?
I'm speaking on that right now.
Oh, excuse me.
I can get you with the exact amounts that belongs to, but that's what we got on.
You told me what I wanted to know.
Kevin, go ahead.
The budget item for planning board reserve,
Yep,
it looks like 25,000 was budgeted last year.
yep.
Do we need to budget that again this year?
We just carried it over from last year, because anything that you didn't expense will go back in, and then we'll,
Okay, so you're not actually pulling
Another
those
20,
funds
right.
out of
right.
capital.
But I was
Okay.
wondering, that might be a question for the planning board. I don't know anything about this, but is there anything that was already prepared last time? Who was it speaking? It was Dave. Yeah. Last time, did you prepare a plan that we could kind of utilize that plan so we wouldn't have to spend all of $25,000 on
Well,
it?
Bill Sheehan requested that 2 years ago, when we started, or maybe 3 years ago now, when we started on the comprehensive plan.
Yeah.
Because that was his estimate of what it was going to be a minimum for NMDC to rent the plan for us. But we're actually having kind of a problem convincing ourselves we should pay NMDC that much money.
Well, I just have a question. Can we talk to a town that's comparable to us and look at their comprehensive plan and see if we can glean anything and write our own?
Oh, yeah, we did.
We already have.
You already have, okay.
And some of the towns in the state have spent upwards of 200,000 plus on the comprehensive plan.
It was my understanding the planning board needed to raise about $108,000, $25,000 a year was what we were supposed to put in the kitty until we got to $100,000. Now, if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong.
Nothing I've heard. They thought, Bill Sheehan said he thought it was going to be 20 to 30,000 to have it done.
So then $25,000 that's proposed shouldn't even be in the budget for this year. It's been appropriated, it should have been set aside in a different account already.
Any other questions? Yeah, yes.
So last year at town meeting, there was an amendment to the article around the social services total to keep it the same, not to have it go up. That article was amended, it was documented in the minutes, but it wasn't changed in the budget. So the
That's
annual
correct.
budget remained exactly the same. This year, it's not just the same, but the Historical Society is asking for a little bit more. I'm concerned, as a citizen, that we made an amendment that was passed at the town meeting that was not on in this current budget, and thus is impacting this future budget. So I would ask the board to look at that.
Certainly.
Because I think that was a concern that the town voted on, and it did pass.
And what about the social?
Yeah, it was about keeping the social service total line at the same amount, if not less, because we were paying it. See, this says that it was $3,755 since 2021, and then it didn't change. The total says it's the same, but this year it's $5,607. And so even though the Historical Society is asking for a little bit more, that's a significant jump. So there's something there that I think we might want to look at.
Do you remember which item it was?
I
It's
do
in that
not,
book.
but I certainly will go back to the town meeting.
I kind of remember something.
It's in
about
that book. It's one of the things we voted
There
on.
was an
that book.
article in the book. Yeah.
Do you remember how much it was?
No, I don't. I'll have to go back and look
I'll
at
look
my
too.
notes.
I've got it.
This goes back 5 years. They traditionally got 700 for 3 years, they got 450. Well, went down to 415 last year. And then 1,100 for this year.
We'll have to look into that.
Okay, thank you. I think before the town meeting, we might just review it.
Yeah. Any other questions on the budget? All right, well, let's move on to article number 8, public question and answer. Yes.
So I bought the property on 430 Church Street down the street, and a few years ago they said they could vacate the road so I can build my house there, because the road, I think they stopped using 50 years ago when the bridge collapsed and someone got killed. So I have people pulling in all the time, and I'm trying to, stop that, so I wanted to know if I can get it vacated going through my property, because it's not used anyway.
Yeah, that's the dead
Or
end.
purchase it, give you a little more money for the budget. So if they'd offer me selling me the road doesn't connect to anything.
So where's the plows gonna turn around?
They have the plow turnaround.
Okay.
Right before my property.
Okay,
The school buses turn around.
Okay.
And then you hit the Aroostook Trail, that's my property. I'm on it. My property is the Aroostook Trail to the Aroostook Trail.
yeah,
So I'm like halfway into it. I just want that middle section where no one can drive cars anymore.
okay,
Because they all come in and do donuts and take that.
yeah, and you're beyond that.
Yes. Yeah, the snowplow turnaround's right behind me.
Okay.
So
And what did they say before? when
they
you
told me
brought
I
it
was
up?
all set, and then the whole crew left. So when I came in the spring, they told me to come back in the spring, you're all set, we vacated it.
Okay.
And never got it.
Dave, you got a question?
Yes, sir. When it comes to a discontinued road, you went through the discontinuation process. But what was left behind is the public easement. You have to extinguish the public easement. And I'm not sure that that's as simple as just making it so. Because as I recall, the utility lines still follow that old road.
Yeah.
And so if you vacate the public easement, Versant will come to you and require that you provide them with some ability to access the utility
They
lines.
can't go nowhere though, but in the water.
I bought my
But
own,
they come in from both ends.
I bought my own utility pole, put my own power.
I understand that.
Oh, okay.
But the Versant maintains their distribution across the old road. They didn't come around to the new road. They went
I don't know if
to
I'm not understanding, there's no power going through my property. The bridge is gone and the road's not been used.
I understand that.
Okay.
That's not unusual. But again, you have the public
What's the
easement.
process? How do we pick them all up from here so we can get in and start building?
You'd have to look at start with your municipal road manual, which outlines the discontinuance process, and then seek advice on how you can eliminate the public easement. If they did find it, and Versant will require you to keep that public easement because they have a utility there.
So, but can we can still build on his property and do anything he needs on his property and allow them to public easement. Is that correct?
You would have, again, Versant will require that easement, however, in some form or fashion. That's the sticking point right there.
Wouldn't that be an easement between Versant and
Potentially, you have an easement between the town and Versant.
the town?
Yes. because it was town property. It was in the road right away. So when you discontinued the road remained town property. And so you've got to honor that public easement.
Have you got a particular person that I can talk to represent for this?
Pardon me?
Do you know a particular person I can speak with at this time?
I don't.
Don't.
I don't. The whole thing has changed. But let me find out.
Matt, what you'd have to do, there's two different kinds of easements as far as that goes. If you have a subdivision that goes in and it's a private road, you can actually grant the power company its own easement, which is not even a third of what a town road easement would be. So if you, I can't remember his name, but. Yeah.
Tim Steichen.
He's a planner.
Tim, yeah.
Tim Steichen is the easement guy versus.
Yeah.
So if you.
What's his last name?
Stipend.
Stipend.
Yeah. Okay. We'll get hold of Tim and
Yeah, see how
Get
that
some
works.
clarity on that.
If you possibly, I mean, I don't know the legalese, but if you relinquish the easement to Curtis.
Yep.
And with the agreement that Curtis would leave an easement for the power company.
Yeah.
And all they need is, it's like 20 feet wide versus 50 feet wide.
okay. Yeah, we'll have to. You're around here though. You're not living.
Oh, yeah, I'm up, well, no, yeah, my camper's on the property now,
Okay.
so we're here for a
Okay.
week or so.
We'll get hold of
Crew's
Tim.
supposed to come in a couple of weeks, I don't know.
Well, we'll get hold of Tim and
Okay.
hook you guys up and
See if
then
we can get it.
and see
Okay.
what we can hammer out.
Appreciate anything we can
Yeah.
get.
Okay.
Get bargaining. get some
Okay.
voice.
All right. Any other questions? Yeah.
Your social services line,
Doesn't add up.
yeah, 22 and 23 don't add up.
Yeah.
24, 25 is right.
Yeah.
I know, I just added it here. We just pointed out 5270, not 5670, so.
It's wrong because they didn't get the right amount for the Woodland Historical Society last year, they only sent 450.
It should have been 700.
That was a decision that Harold made though. Harold's the one that actually decided to
No,
take
he
this.
didn't.
Yes, he did.
He asked him because he knows it's.
There was a mistake, there was a typo in the budget. There was something added to this whole group, and I think it was a $15 item. I think it had something to do with general assistance. It was added to the social services, and it was supposed to not be in there. So when that adjustment was, the amendment was made before the adjustment was explained. And when we got back across the road, Harold Tardy said, well, we're going to have to take some away from somebody, and he volunteered this Historical Society because he was on it. That is the truth. I'll say it in the Baptist church.
We'll get it cleared up.
Not the latest, I don't know, shit.
Pardon me?
Not the latest, you say that a lot.
Well, I'm just saying, put my hand on the Bible.
Okay, any other questions there for public comment?
What's the length of the term on the Maine bond bank loan for paving?
Was it 10 years?
And
10?
All right.
I have a question.
Yes.
What's up with the elections coming up for the selectmen? Where are we with that?
It's going to be June.
June 11th.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the same day as the primary.
Yeah, same day as the primary.
Absentee ballots are still available until the 6th of June. So if you want to come in and call in, you can pick those up. We can mail it out to you until the 6th of June.
For the selectmen?
So it's going to be for the presidential, it's going to be for your select board, and also for the school board. You're welcome.
Okay. Oh,
When can we view the video?
Anytime.
Where? In here?
Doesn't matter. I'm probably outside, won't be there for the reception.
All right, we're not gonna go into an executive session, so
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
What about lawyers' fees? I noticed that was only up 10,000. Do you think that's enough going forward?
Let's hope so.
hopefully.
Doubtful.
Well, I don't think it's gonna be much more, you?
It would be a lot better, to be honest, with the public going in than to ask them for an adjustment later on.
Yeah, we upped it quite a bit there, I think.
Yeah, are you aware of something went on?
Yeah.
Well, I'm just putting two and two together.
Well, I think we're looking good.
Good.
Okay. All right, we got a motion to adjourn. Any second?
I second.
Tom seconds it. All in favor? Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries.